gather together just for some last thoughts here. This last session we're going to have some reflections on the conference, lessons learned from three of the people who have been on the organizing committee. Alissa Cordner from Whitman College, Andrea Amico from Testing for Pease, and Shaina Kasper from Toxics Action Center. And also from somebody who is not on the planning committee, Arlene Blum, who you all know has been very important in getting this whole area of work off the ground and continues to play a big role. I just want to say a couple of words before they start, which is to say thank you for being here. When this was a glimmer in our eye, having a meeting with our PFAS team from Northeastern and Toxics Action Center, thinking about what are the next steps to take, and we hesitated and he says, what if we did a conference? Because there seemed to be so many people that we're all working with around this, and it was a glimmer, and it just got bigger and bigger in our eyes, and we just started to eat it up, and it was something that we really enjoyed doing, and we're so happy to have you here. So thank you for sharing all of your attention. Thank you for everything that you've done. And so before they start, Stephanie Knudsen just walked in the room. I think everyone's met Stephanie by now, but really she has been the key to all the details here. Our other folks have been too, Liz Boxer, who you have been seeing a lot too, and Yvette Niwa. But Stephanie really is there behind the desk, doing all the endless details with catering, with hotels, with airplane reservations, with getting computers arranged, logged in, logged out. It's not her fault when the computer sticks. So thanks to everybody who's helped, and thanks to the many staff from Toxics Action Center who helped get things through. They run really big conferences every year here in March, and they know how to hustle people in and out and make sure that they get to workshops and things in time. So anyway, again, thank you very much. Have a safe trip home, and we will start with Alissa Cordner. I'm sorry, we're starting with Arlene. I mean, because I'm just sort of paying attention to it. It says Alissa on the slide.
It's okay. Well, I wasn't part of the organizing committee, but I have to commend you, because I think what you put together, it feels like we're all family, right? We all share this passion, and we're all kind of bonded, and you'll have to have another conference. And I'm just going to, because I ended up not being a speaker because I never knew till a few days ago I could come, but I just want to share some optimistic visions of where I think things can go from this conference. I mean, I think that it is really hopeful that we're all here knowing about these chemicals, and that the critical thing is that we don't go from the long chains to the short chains. That the long chains have been discredited. DuPont, who until a few years ago was assuring us they were completely great. When we wrote the Madrid statement, their rebuttal was, we agree with everything you're saying about long chains, but the short chains are great. And they're the environmentally preferable chemical. And we know that they're environmentally unpreferable because they can't be filtered out of water. There's so many of them, we won't know what they are. They don't accumulate in serum, but they may accumulate in organs. There's just a whole list of reasons. So I think it's really critical that we take this energy of our communities, of our legislators, of everything we have, and don't move from the long chains to the short chains. And if you didn't get it, here's our fluorinated alternatives, myths versus facts. You can find it on our website that has all of those reasons. So I feel optimism in terms of consumer products. There are companies taking the lead. About 40 companies have stopped the use of all PFASs in clothing, in fabrics. IKEA is one who's done it out of good values, as has Crate and Barrel. Others have done it because they were picketed by Greenpeace. But the concept of stopping using this whole class is something that's happening. It's not uncommon. And a big hope I have is that the military will do the same. They have a mil-spec that requires them right now to use PFASs, and it's time for that to be changed, and I think it can be changed. So I do feel an optimism, and I said this early morning. I showed a video on fluorinated chemicals, a 4 or 5 minute video, and I don't know if all of you were here then, but I did say that in both the House and the Senate defense bills, they're trying to put things in to provide funding for health studies in impacted communities. And if anybody doesn't know that, this is the moment to talk to your senators and your legislators, particularly if they're on Armed Services Committee or Military Appropriations Committee, and encourage them to support funding for communities who have been impacted by these chemicals, because that is the fastest way for something to happen. So I wanted to say that, but I'm optimistic. And then again, we're launching. Those of you who are here had the sneak preview of our 4-minute videos. They're going to be launched the next 3 Thursdays. If you go to greensciencepolicy.org, you could get invited to free webinars, but they're going to be online forever, and we hope that they'll help you educate people about PFASs. So anyway, I see coming out of this meeting and all of your efforts a real change and really an awareness, choices of products. People can choose products that are not stain repellent, water repellent. You know, we can make choices in our purchasing with our legislators, and I think, anyway, so I want to just end with an optimism and a thanks to all of you.
Great, thanks, Arlene. It's nice to have that optimism. I wanted to share just a few quick themes that I've noticed about the invisibility and visibility of PFASs. But first, a quick logistical note. If you have anything you would like to share, either with all the other conference participants, I know there's been a lot of mentions of websites or files that are available. If you have things that you think other folks here would like to have access to, you can send them to that handy website at the bottom, pfasproject@gmail.com, and we will make sure that they get distributed out. This could be a website or a PDF file, a report, a study. It could be some juicy documents that you want to make their way onto the interwebs in a larger way. So anything you have, you can send them on to us, and we will distribute them accordingly. I want to talk about a few ways, first of themes we've seen here today about how PFASs can be more invisible. First, a couple of industry-related things, one around confidential business information, or CBI, the huge amount of data that is allowed to be protected as confidential or as trade secret, either when it is developed by the companies, submitted, used in marketing, etc. We also talked about the idea of production-oriented science as leading to some invisibility. We heard Ken Cook yesterday talk about some hypothetical engineers who said, you just told us to make it cheap and make a lot of it. That's what we did. That's the way that production science has been oriented for quite a while, not around the ideas of green chemistry or product safety. And this leads to the invisibility of a lot of PFASs. Additionally, some limitations of TSCA around grandfathering existing chemicals make it harder for that information to become visible. We also heard some scientists say that they can be reluctant to talk to the media. This is a really legitimate concern. We heard that this morning. I heard a scientist yesterday say, I talked to the media last week and they misquoted me. And that makes it really difficult for folks to feel comfortable talking to the media, and it might lead to more information remaining silent or remaining less visible. Scientists can also be reluctant to share their data out of a concern. We've heard about the issues of report back. Are you concerned about stressing out folks, causing anxiety in cases of uncertainty? This can also make information about PFASs less visible. We heard multiple stories of scientists and labs being unwilling to take on industries that are close to home. We heard that in Ohio. We heard that in New Hampshire. This has contributed to making PFASs less visible. And we have a lack of data and testing on certain topics. There are things that we just don't know. People have mentioned issues of inhalation exposure that we know very little about. Issues of all the next-gen chemicals. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of data gaps out there. But what can we do to make PFASs more visible, or what is already happening? Things that were mentioned over and over around interactions with journalists and getting more media coverage on this topic. This was a really common theme that we heard in pretty much almost every presentation. Issues of coalition building, and that's really been something powerful to come out of this conference, can make issues more visible. And sharing data with participants, with communities, even when there is uncertainty. Additionally, having more upfront data requirements built into regulatory initiatives so that not only do companies have to develop testing information, but they have to provide information for how other researchers can test for their chemical down the road. So it's not the analytical chemists in an academic chemistry lab developing the methods. Maybe DuPont perhaps already has those methods and could share them more broadly. We also could have increased funding for research and for dissemination of that research. That's a big concern with cuts to the EPA, not just that data won't be developed or it won't be shared, but that actually they won't have the funds to maintain websites. And so we're doing a lot of data archiving with a program called the Environmental Data Governance Initiative. We heard about Fardine's midnight testing, perhaps in contrast to midnight dumping that has happened in the past. Thanks to Phil for that witty turn of words there. We could have more systematic exposure testing instead of just relying on modeling. We heard from Andy and Jason that they actually went out and said, we think it might be 2 miles, but let's go farther and see where the edge of that plume really is. And of course, the new laboratory methods, the potential for some of these new methods to actually let us find out everything that's in water or soil or sediment could make PFASs more visible. And just one more plug, you can share your information with us if you want to get it out to at least this audience. And there's that email address once again. Thank you.
Thank you. So I am feeling like right up to, I kind of came into this conference feeling like I was pretty up to date on the information and the science, the meteor and stuff, and I just feel like it just keeps like brimming and then overflowing and then brimming and overflowing. And so wanting to make sure that we come out of this conference with really specific next steps as well. And so I don't know what those next steps are quite yet. I think we got a sense of some of them from all these different panelists, but I want everyone just to like think for one moment about what their own next steps are so that we can share them with each other to be able to hold each other accountable. Okay? Everyone think for 1 minute. I'm just going to have you shout out. We don't have a mic right now. So at the beginning, Phil had kind of gone over all the different people who were here, who were at this conference. And now I want to hear from you about what you're taking back to your work, taking back to your communities, things like that. So I'm going to start with government officials. What are you guys going to be taking back? Just shout them out.
We need to lower the number get through the legislative process.
A need to lower the threshold for PFAS through the legislative process. Cool. Fardine, you had something?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm considered a regulator, but I've been there 16 years, so I say that take it from local to global, and that trying to, especially in this country, that is not part of any of it.
You're a legacy regulator.
The legacy regulator says we need to take it from local to global.
In the global level, so I say local to global.
Thank you guys. Yeah, I think regulators, officials, we need you. We need national enforceable drinking water standards that are science-based for infants and children with vulnerable populations, for combined totals for PFAS. We need polluter pays policies. We need policies to ensure that the air we breathe and the water that we drink is clean and safe among the entire life cycle of these chemicals. And it's when we need, when we don't have it, we need fast and effective and transparent remediation on the back end. And especially as we keep saying today, and yesterday as well, the federal government isn't as protective as it should be. And so states and local communities need to take on this helm, need to take on the charge, are gonna have to lead. So thank you. We need you guys. So next we've got students, teachers, researchers, environmental and health advocates, medical professionals. I kind of clumped a couple in there. But what are you guys taking out of this? What are your to-dos? Because we need you. Yeah.
Building a coalition to lobby federally through our elected representatives in all of these various communities.
A coalition to lobby federally. Thanks.
our data much more communicable and interpretable, especially for something that can be interpreted as we don't know. And then for me, another next step would be, if we know it's in the population, we need to figure out how to test for it, so that we make good data to show if there are relationships and there's not.
We need to better communicate our data and to make sure that data, we have more better data. Yeah. One more maybe? Yeah?
Yeah, to consolidate this in my own mind, but also bring it back to the community in understandable ways.
Thank you. Yeah, consolidating it in our own minds and be able to bring it back, communicate it back to the community.
And then see what they need.
And to see what they need. Is that, yeah, I mean, we need you medical professionals, environmental advocates, teachers, researchers, scientists. Are you putting fence line community leaders' needs first? Are you asking those questions? Are you engaging with different disciplines to better inform your work? Are you getting in front of, behind the lab, out from behind the lab and in front of legislative processes? Are you going to town meetings, working group meetings? Can you sign up for our health, environment, and assistance resources database? Is one thing that Sylvia mentioned in the opening, and would be a really great way to help community groups throughout New England that are fighting these pollution threats in their neighborhoods. So this is just a quick plug with our website for that there, and then it's just a really quick volunteer sign up. Seriously, you can go on right now on your phones and just sign up, really easy. Business, industry, any key takeaways? Any folks left? Congratulations if you made it through, thank you. But honestly, we need you too. Can we utilize green chemistry, green engineering, green designs for things that are not just shorter chain molecules? And I think we keep hearing this over and over again. We have a tip for you that this will actually help you and save you money in the long run if you're thinking long term, right? Lawyers? Any lawyers left? No, they're all still chatting outside, aren't they? Yeah? Oh, there you go, Ken.
Keep fighting the fight.
Keep fighting. We need you. We know this. We have been hearing.
Too bad.
We've heard so many stories about how we need lawyers in this fight, but we also know that there's places where there aren't a lot of legal options. So providing legal assistance to these groups also can sign up for the.
thing about this picture is I gotta get a different colored jacket.
Reporters, journalists, artists. All right. Well, we need you guys too, as you keep hearing, and we need to continue to report on these crises in informed and powerful ways. So thank you. Community leaders?
I'll just add for journalists that we can all be journalists to a degree.
Thank you.
And we need to do that as bloggers, social media, think of yourself in that way.
Thanks. Community leaders have to-dos coming out? Health surveys?
Meeting with politicians.
Meeting with politicians?
Collaborating and streamlining our efforts.
Yeah.
Collaborating and streamlining our efforts? I mean,
Joining Facebook.
joining Facebook? Yeah. Engaging elected officials? I mean, yeah, we know that we're all tired and sick and tired, and we've learned so much from you all here today. And so I also just want to ask, what can we do to support each other too? So not just of working on our own individual to-dos, but to work collaboratively. There's a lot of work cut out for us, but if there's no other takeaways that I have from the past 2 days, is that together we can do these. So I thank you all so much for your work and your collaboration, and I'm just so thankful to have you all in this fight. So thanks.
Hello, thanks for sticking it out. I know it's after 5:30, so I'm not going to take an exorbitant amount of time. I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank Phil for asking me to be part of this process. I never in my mind several months ago when we started planning this envisioned such an amazing get-together of beautiful and brilliant minds, and I feel extremely honored to have been part of the process and to have met all of you. I think that one of the things that stands out in my mind last night at our community dinner, Shaina asked everybody to go around the room and say one word that describes how you're feeling. And we heard overwhelmed, we heard inspired, smarter, exhausted, determined. And so I think a lot of us can probably relate to those words and how we're feeling right now. And the biggest message I just want to send to all of you, other than thank you, is that it doesn't end here. You know, I think it's very obvious that we're just getting started, and it leaves me incredibly hopeful as an impacted community member that, first of all, to just see everyone that showed up and cares was extremely inspiring and hopeful to me. And I truly feel that we can work together now, that we're going to find ways to work together, and I hope that we can continue our efforts collaborating for the greater good of all of us. That's just my biggest message is thank you. Please don't stop doing what you're doing. Let's continue to collaborate, and I hope to see you all and interact with you soon. So have a great night. Thank you for everything.